Hello, and welcome to the Bluegrass Sports Show, or
We are the BS Show. We are two fat guys talking crap. We are the Pumpkins of Pooches.
in button-up shirts. Barry has a button-up shirt on with me today.
Look at snazzy.
So, today, I'm Carl.
And I'm Perry.
The animal. So today, we are coming at you to talk about this new All-Star system, or format, whichever you want to call it, where they have picked, they're going to pick two captains.
Would you like me to explain it for you, Pumpkin?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Essentially what the NBA's done, and I'm going to give just a little bit of background story about this as well. And what he referred to, it's right. It's a new, not really a selection format per se,
No.
but it's a new teaming format.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA's goal in this is to try to increase competitiveness within the All-Star game for the fans.
It will a little bit, I think.
It will to an extent. On the surface, it's a neat idea.
It is a cool idea.
If you would have asked me 30 minutes ago, I'm 100% against it. Right now, it's 30 minutes from now, I might be completely against it or completely for it. It's got so many different variables to it, and that you're not going to know how it works until you actually see it.
Right.
But essentially, what the NBA has done, the Players Association President Chris Paul, he and LeBron and some others, of course, general managers with franchises.
Right.
They have come together in an effort to try to make the All-Star game, while it's still an epic show, it's an epic entertainment aspect.
Yeah.
Try to make the game more competitive.
It should be.
To make the game feel more like a game.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, you had two teams essentially score 400 points combined. And your MVP scores 50 points, which I'm the biggest Anthony Davis fan in the world. But there's no reason why in an MVP, in an All-Star game, there's zero reason why with that much competition, one guy should score 50 points.
Right.
It's ridiculous. What they've essentially done, the selection format is going to remain the same. You're going to have 12 from each conference, East and West. Your first 10, of course, 5 from the West, 5 from the East. The first 10 being the starters. The top 10 vote getters, or top 5 vote getters from each side. 2 guards, 3 front court players.
Right.
Top vote getters in those categories from the East and the West will be your starters. And then from there, the coaches will pick the remaining, that's
14.
There's 14 total players. There's 14 players left. Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay. Coaches will pick the remaining 14.
Right.
They will pick from 2 guards. They will pick 3 front court players, and then 2 people of their choosing.
Right.
2 positions of their choosing. That's going to remain the same. How this is going to change, after you get the selections made, the top vote getter from the East, which the last several years has been LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
There's no reason at this point to assume it to be anybody else. It very well could be, but we're going to assume.
At least this year, it's going to probably stay LeBron.
Likely LeBron. But that's just an example. And then you're going to have the top vote getter from the West. Recently, it's been Steph Curry. You're going to put one here, one there. Each is going to represent a team. They can't be on the same team unless, obviously, one of them does not win popular vote. That's the only way it can happen. But you're going to have 2 captains. Those are the only 2 people who are essentially not eligible to be on the same team.
Right.
And from there, you're going to have
a draft.
You're going to have 22 players that essentially you're going to have a draft backwards and forwards. Now, I'm assuming it's going to be serpentine. That's really the only way to keep it fair.
Right.
But that's not necessarily. They said that more draft details will come out later.
Right.
But you're going to have each player draft. Now, as far as a fantasy booking, it's wonderful. For example, if you have LeBron James with the first overall pick, could you imagine if LeBron's first pick is Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
And then you have Steph Curry on this side. Could you imagine if Steph Curry's first pick is Kyrie Irving?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's what kind of fantasy booking you're looking at. Or Steph Curry could have first pick, and he could take his teammate. He could take Durant.
Right.
Or he could take Westbrook. Or he could take somebody else from the East. He could go and take Kevin Love, for example, if he's an all-star.
Right.
Just anybody who is selected by whether fan vote as a starter or selected as a coach to fill out the roster reserves will be eligible in this pool. The goal for this, and each team, they will be playing for a charity, whether it be in the local Los Angeles area because it's where the All-Star Game's at this year, or a national charity of their choosing, the winning team will have a donation paid on their behalf to this charity.
See, I didn't know that part.
Yes,
okay.
That's what the winning team is playing for. Would you, now that I've explained it, would you like to give your opinions on it first?
I think it will. You were talking about earlier about, and this has always been one of my big problems with the All-Star Game, is the lack of competitiveness, the lack of defense that's played, and it's more just a show. And I think it will increase the competitiveness slightly. You're not going to see a vast increase. You're not going to see a huge incline in competitiveness, but it will slightly increase the competitiveness a little bit, especially if the captains, this is bragging rights. I mean, for each captain, this is bragging rights.
Yes.
So it will increase it slightly. But, well, I guess we'll talk about what we would like to see later. Or do you want to now?
To me, we can discuss the pros of it, and then we can go into the cons. That's completely up to you.
Okay.
But what it does to me, it makes the selection as much of a spectacle as the actual game, in my opinion. Because at this point, you have the opportunity to see, and not only is it who this guy takes, it's who this guy doesn't take.
Right.
And I think that the idea of this essential draft for the All-Star Game, that to me is compelling.
Right.
Of course, it plays into the media push narrative of player beefs, which they exist, but
not as much as the media pumps it
exactly,
up to.
Not as much as the media pumps it up to. That is neat. The idea that you could see matchups as far as teammates being, the combination of talent that you can possibly see is very interesting.
And I like the splitting up, or it may equal in splitting up the East and the West.
Well, that's the core of what's happening here, because
it's kind of cool.
The top 24 projected players as far as overall efficiency coming into this season, as far as projection, not based on last year, but projection for this year, the top 24 players in the league, 17 of them's in the West.
I didn't know that. Yes. I mean, I could easily see it, but I didn't know.
Earlier this summer, I had a conversation with Scott Croucher and with Doug Yantis and Cody Johnson, and I provided 3 separate lineups that the West could have just for starting lineups in the Western in the All-Star Game, to where that lineup you could see beating the East.
Right.
As to where just one lineup for the East, and you had 3 separate lineups in the West that could compete with or beat that team.
Right.
So the West is loaded. I understand that aspect of it.
Right.
My biggest issue with this, I'm like you, I don't know how this affects the game as far as competitiveness. Yes,
it's going to be a slight increase, I think.
There's a pride aspect to it.
Right.
You've got 2 captains that are building their team.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have the coach with the best record 2 weeks before the All-Star Game in each conference who will be coaching each team.
Right.
Now, Brad Stevens, Steve Kerr, not eligible because they coached last year's All-Star Games. So they won't be on the sideline either or. So it's very likely you're going to have Tyronn Lue and probably Billy Donovan, which would be my guess.
Maybe Pop.
I don't think it'll be Pop.
Maybe.
That could be in another video to come where we preview how we think the standings and the playoff berths could pan out. But to me, whenever I look at this, I look at it as a media fiasco.
Yeah.
I look at it as attention to certain combinations of talent and certain aspects of where talent could have been taken and it was avoided.
Right.
By some players being slotted in place of guys that's not near as talented, which will draw controversy.
Right.
There's always controversy with the All-Star selections regardless. Whenever you put it in the hands of the players than picking their own teammates, oh man. That's they're looking at ratings in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
Now, a lot of the media has come out positive for this. A lot of the current players have come out positive for this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of former players hate it.
Right.
Scottie Pippen hates it.
Well,
Scottie Pippen was posed a question yesterday by Rachel Nichols on The Jump on ESPN. that would there have not been just a little bit more fire in the game in this situation if Scotty picks someone over you and you're on the other side, or if you pick someone over Michael? I'm sorry, if Michael picks someone over you, Scotty,
Right.
or if you, Scotty, pick someone else over Michael, and Scotty looked point blank at her and said, "Who's to say Mike wouldn't take me? Who's to say I wouldn't take Mike?"
Right.
You know, he said we took pride in competing to show that the East was the best.
Right.
The fact that pride is not with the players today is more of a problem than, and that's the source of the issue with the competitiveness in the All-Star game.
Right.
Now, that's my opinions on it. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, I mean, that's pretty spot on to me. With everybody, nobody cares about jumping. They just want to play with most talent now.
Yes.
That's period. They just want to play with most talent. They want to win, obviously, but they want to do the least amount of work to get there, so they're going to play with the best talent.
The objective is to play to win, and that's
Right.
something that I laughed at LeBron after the finals this past year's, to where he said he's never played on a super team. LeBron, you started the super teams.
Yeah. Well, no.
Yes, he did.
I don't think he started free agency super teams.
Well, I mean, what other way do you have super teams now?
Well,
I mean,
when you
at
look
least-
at the
at
big
least-
three in Boston.
At least Boston made trades to
Yeah, but
get
those
the big
players
three.
wanted traded.
So what? So
And
what if they want to trade?
They chose.
Still, Boston had to give up assets to make that work. Boston gave up Al Jefferson for Kevin Garnett. Al Jefferson was a stud. He wasn't Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at it, look at how many people Golden State had to get rid of to pick up Kevin Durant.
Well, they gave up Harrison Barnes. They gave up Andrew Bogut.
Yep.
I mean, they gave up a lot of talent.
That's what. Yeah, so it's the
So-
same thing to me. It's equivalent in a sense, except you're choosing where you go. That's the only thing LeBron started in
Yes,
my eyes.
Absolutely. The collection of talent to accumulate the best team possible. LeBron started that super team era.
Right.
And very few people disagree with that.
Mhm.
Now, that's the way the NBA is going now.
Yeah, that's the way. And I can't stand it.
It's something that I think is going to really stop that, unless players take massive pay cuts to team up now. All this massive money it's being dished out left and right, that money's gone now.
Mhm.
Yes, it was nice for 2 years to see these huge, massive deals being signed. You potentially know Westbrook's going to be off the table because he signed his extension last week. And you may have some others that re-sign here and there. You potentially could have 7 to 8 all-NBA players on the market next year. So once those guys take up all the money that's to be there in free agency,
Right.
these other guys, that isn't going to happen. Teams don't. The last 2 years have taken up all the free agent money of this new TV deal money that's came in.
Right.
So I think while the super team era is here to stay for a little bit, I don't think it's permanent by any means, because teams just don't have the money to pay unless guys take massive
But I mean,
pay
when you
cuts.
look at the Heat,
Yes.
Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Bosh all took a serious pay cut to play together.
Well, that was a much smaller salary cap. It was much different.
Well, right, but that's what I'm saying.
That was a
I'm saying
different
they
CBA.
were willing to take pay cut to be together.
Well, they
So-
took a pay cut down to $15 million a year. So how serious of a pay cut did they take?
Well, they were at 20 some million.
Well, LeBron still got his 20. Bosh still got right at his 20. Wade still took a pay cut.
Well, yeah, but
Wade's the one who got screwed out of that. But back to our topic. I'm so sorry. What if this doesn't work? How would
okay, you want to breeze into our gateway there? I like it.
Yes.
Okay.
If this doesn't work, would make it, because the reason being, and I meant to look up this stat, and I'm so sorry I didn't. I've had a busy afternoon. I didn't have a chance to look this up. The average NBA All-Star ticket is probably unbelievably high.
Oh, probably.
Just for, and if you
You're
add in
talking
package,
upper levels?
we're talking just to get in the building, especially in Los Angeles this year.
Yeah.
You're going to be paying bukus of money to watch an NBA All-Star game.
I would say up in the upper top levels, you're probably paying $300-400.
So there's a solid chance of that. Not anything factual to go with there, just an estimate.
No.
And then you throw in different packages, of course, to where you can get to All-Star Saturday night with the dunk and three-point contest and skills contest, then the rookie All-Star game, celebrity stuff. So there's a lot of activity there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a simple concept as to how you fix the dunk contest. You put people's names in the dunk contest that you recognize.
Right.
You don't have guys like, while Derrick Jones Jr. is a fantastic dunker, unbelievable athlete, nobody except an NBA fan had a clue. And not just a casual NBA fan, a hardcore NBA fan had a clue who Derrick Jones Jr. was last year.
Right.
It's the same thing with Zach LaVine, elite dunker, but that's what he's known for. He's not known for anything on the court. He's known for what he can do in a dunk contest.
Decent shooting.
He's decent shooting, but I mean that's it. He's a decent young player, but he's known for what he did in a dunk contest. We're not talking about
LeBron James.
We're not talking about 17 to 20 years ago. Whenever you have Kobe Bryant in a dunk contest, whenever you have Vince Carter in a dunk contest, you have Jason Richardson, Steve Francis, you have all these top names in dunk contests going back to the 80s and 90s. Jordan, Clyde Drexler.
Yep.
You're talking about Dominique
Even
Wilkins, Larry Nance, Dr. J, just the elite of the elite. The dunk contest is easy to fix. You put people in there you want to see in the contest.
But if I'm not mistaken, I've heard that they're asking these people. Like they went to LeBron, asked him to be in the dunk contest. He said no, he didn't want to.
LeBron's afraid of that spotlight.
But I'm saying that I think they're asking these superstar athletes, but to them, there's no reason to play in that and the All-Star game.
I think LeBron, they've done it for years. That's ridiculous.
But why are we seeing any of them? Because they're asking them.
Well, I mean,
you can say LeBron don't want the spotlight, but where's everybody else? Because they're asking them.
Whenever Paul George and John Wall did it 3 years ago, they put on a show.
Well, yeah,
and it was the best dunk contest. Now the format of how they did the dunk contest was dumb, but I mean even Aaron Gordon, what's he known for other than being in a dunk contest?
That's it. Yep.
So whenever you put stars, the light shines brighter. The contest is better. The 3-point contest has excellent shooters who are great players.
Right.
Household names every year.
Mm-hmm.
The skills contest has household names every year.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the dunk contest don't. But it's like it's a lost. People don't care anymore.
Dwight Howard was really the last superstar who consistently did the dunk contest.
Blake Griffin done it.
Well, he did it once or twice.
Yeah, once or twice.
Whenever he was like a rookie or second-year player in the league. But the All-Star game itself, which we're focusing on at this point, well, we'll worry about Saturday whenever Saturday comes. But the All-Star game, to me, once again, you don't know if this fixes a problem until you see if it fixes a problem.
I don't think it does.
And some people will say the baseball model. I'm in favor of the baseball model. But people will say, well, everybody hates the baseball model. The reason why people hate the baseball model is because every team in the major leagues, you have 30 teams, they are obligated to be represented by at least one player. That's a rule. Right. They have to be represented by one player at least. You have a massive roster, absolutely massive roster. Your pitchers maybe pitch 2 innings tops.
Right.
And it's just that's the way it is. I get having the winner of the All-Star game hosting the World Series. I get why that is skeptical because you can't control as much in baseball as far as from a coaching aspect as what you can in basketball.
Right.
You can't control who's at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how it lines up. Of course, you can set up certain ways and substitutions where it can be controlled.
Right.
But that's it. With basketball, you can control at all times who's on the court. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, Steve Kerr is not going to be eligible to coach the finals this year. Or, I'm sorry, the All-Star game this year. He'll be in the finals.
He got kicked out of the finals.
He'll be in the finals. But imagine if you're Billy Donovan or you're Mike D'Antoni or you're Greg Popovich or even Tom Thibodeau, for that matter. Maybe at this point, Minnesota's just tearing people apart.
I hope so.
Imagine you're on that sideline and you look at Steph Curry and you look at Kevin Durant and say, gentlemen, you're going on the court. And I understand you don't play for me, but in my heart of hearts, we're going to decide who goes to the NBA Finals.
Right.
Let's decide who has home court.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Oh, man. Imagine you're LeBron. Imagine you're LeBron on the other side, and you look at people down your bench, and you know you're going to the finals.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you look at the coach, and you speak to your coach. We have a chance, even if it's not Tyronn Lue, down the road, if it's Brad Stevens, if it's Eric Spoelstra, if it's one of those guys,
Right.
if it's Scotty Brooks in Washington,
Mhm.
the
Well, you said-
Eastern Conference
Except Brad
goes.
Stevens, he can't do it.
Well, I'm just saying down the road, Brad
Yeah,
Stevens.
yeah, okay.
The Eastern Conference goes through us.
Right.
We'll know we'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make sure whichever one of us goes to the finals has home court.
Mm-hmm.
And you go down and you pick your team to make a clutch run to win a game. That means something. The
Yeah.
All-Star game used to mean something. Now it didn't account to nothing down the road in the
Right.
season, but players had pride.
They had a lot of pride.
Scottie Pippen said him and Michael took pride in letting the West know
Well-
that the East was the better conference.
Well, period. From everything I've heard or read, when you go back to older players, it wasn't just a pride over who's a better conference.
Who's a better player?
It was a pride over I'm not going to let you beat me.
Exactly.
And today's guys don't have that. Now, when it comes to All-Star game, it's a show to them. It doesn't matter. So we're just going to play around. Who cares?
If last year, if game one of the NBA Finals, or not game one, but just home court in general,
Yeah.
is on the line for the NBA Finals, you can rest assured Anthony Davis doesn't go for 50 points for the West. You can rest assured that Steph Curry doesn't lay down on his stomach and let somebody jump over top of him for a dunk
Right.
because he don't want to get dunked on in transition, so he just lays on the ground. You can rest assured that doesn't happen.
Mm-mm.
You can rest assured each team is essentially not combining for 200 points.
Right.
Or, I'm sorry, combining for 400 points.
Right. 200 apiece, yeah.
Hey, if you want the game to be competitive, and a lot of people say, well, the All-Star game shouldn't mean nothing. The All-Star,
Why not?
There's a
Why
reason.
shouldn't it?
There's a reason why the Pro Bowl essentially doesn't exist now, because it happened after the end of the season.
Yep.
It was a meaningless game. It was a reward for play throughout the season, where half the players selected don't even play.
They don't even want to play.
They don't want to play.
Right.
NASCAR, I understand that you have one individual winner in NASCAR. It's not a team sport
Right.
like basketball. Well, it's a team sport with teams, but you have one person who is on the track performing to win.
Yeah.
Your crew can do what your crew can do. In NASCAR, with their all-star race, you have different segments. And where you finish in said segment goes into an average finish for all segments. And then the last segment is 10 laps. 10 laps to win $1 million. So the higher average finish you have from the previous segments,
Right.
the farther towards the front you start.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The All-Star race runs every year. Charlotte Motor Speedway is sold out every single year.
Right.
It's a nationally televised event, draws huge ratings.
And everybody wants to win.
And everybody wants to win because they're racing that has no implication on points. It's a non-points race.
But it's $1 million.
It's $1 million.
Yep.
You think these guys don't have the money? Yeah, the donating to a charity in the name of the team, that's nice. If these guys care that much about donating to the charity, write you a check.
Yep.
Donate to charity.
Mm-hmm.
Donating to charity, it's nice on paper for this game, and it's very nice for the Player Association to put
Right.
that in that.
Right.
But don't tell me that's the reason why you're playing to win.
Yeah.
Because you have the ability 365 days a year to make a sizable donation to charity.
A
Don't act like you
sizable,
don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't want to hear that.
Yep, I completely agree.
Baseball's
completely
All-Star
agree.
game means something.
Nowhere else does. I mean, essentially. except
NASCAR races for $1
maybe.
million.
I didn't know NASCAR.
NBA, it's a simple concept. Now, whether the
Now, I
player...
do say that NBA's is better than Pro Bowl.
Well, yes, the NBA is better than the Pro Bowl just
But-
because of the spectacle of the NBA's All-Star game
Right.
is what makes it. But people are getting tired of watching an essential scream. It's like watching...
It's like watching them on the playground.
It's like watching a padless football scrimmage where you can't hit anybody.
Right.
That's
Right.
what it's. That's what it is.
I like it. Yeah.
It's like watching powder puff football whenever you watch the All-Star game
Mm-hmm.
because you just sidestep. You
No,
might
yep,
you might
nobody's
stand in
trying.
front of somebody and just cut off an easy walk to the basket, but if they put on the jets just to go, you let them go.
Yep.
And I understand nobody wants to get hurt. I 100% get that.
Why not?
Obviously nobody wants to get hurt.
Well, but if I'm playing in a game, I'm old school. If I'm playing, I don't care if I'm playing my daughter.
It's like Westbrook. Westbrook in
I
the
do
All-Star
not-
game plays to win.
I
From
do
the
not
minute
let
go.
my daughter win. Much less am I letting one of you all win.
Just Westbrook plays to win from
Yep.
the word go. But that's
and
my
that's what I'm doing.
that's my opinion. Whether this fixes the problem with the All-Star game or not,
It
what
won't.
they've done, it's an interesting idea on paper.
It's a cool idea. I mean, I'm gonna like seeing it. It's pretty cool.
But it's
not.
it's not
gonna fix that competitiveness.
the fantasy aspect of who gets to play with who. Like if Steph or LeBron aren't leading vote getters, and the other is, and the other manages to take that player.
Exactly.
Whoa. I mean,
I love you.
whoa. I mean, just that fantasy booking right there of those two on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But the idea where this creates buzz, it's not on the court to me. It doesn't increase competitiveness to me automatically on the court.
One thing I just really thought of is, could you see, let's say, LeBron's captain and he picks whoever, right, to play with
Whoever's
him
a good player.
that he's never played with, though.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's say Karl Anthony Towns. Let's say DeMarcus Cousins. Let's say Anthony Davis. Somebody he's never played with, right? Could you see maybe that leading to
absolutely
other super teams, essentially? Hey, we played great together in the All-Star game. Let's do it in the season.
You think it's not in the back of these guys' mind that we've talked about doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what it looks like.
Right.
Absolutely. This was put together by Chris Paul and LeBron. And all you hear is Banana Boat is going to L.A. I don't think it's by any coincidence that LeBron and Chris
Banana
Paul
Boat is going to L.A.
Yes.
You actually hear this?
Yes.
I've never heard that. Who's Banana Boat?
You're the Banana Boat boys. LeBron, Paul, Wade, and Melo.
Why the Banana Boat?
That's just them. They go banana boating with each other. They vacation a lot together with their families. There was an image of those four on a banana boat out in the water, and from there they're the Banana Boat crew.
What's a banana boat?
It's a boat. It's a yellow boat that looks like a banana, like a canoe.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was real.
Yes.
Sorry, guys. Anyway, that's why I wouldn't.
For someone that keeps banana-shaped like objects on the mind as much as you do, I figured you would know what a banana boat is.
I keep banana-shaped objects on my mind. Huh? Alrighty then. So, anything you want to add though? I completely agree with what he's saying that it should be the baseball format. Maybe not the pulling one player from each team.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
The reason why I mentioned that, that's why the baseball format doesn't work is because a lot of times you don't have guys from teams because those guys are starting.
Right.
The guys from teams that matter you have 16 teams in the playoffs in the NBA. You have 8 in baseball.
Right.
Not counting the wild card aspect. I think it's maybe 10 now. or maybe 12 or something like that. But you have a fraction of the teams in the playoffs in baseball as to what you have in basketball. So you're a lot less likely to have players who will be playing in October, affecting the All-Star game for baseball as to the likelihood or the guarantee, essentially, that you're going to have guys playing in the All-Star game in the NBA that will very likely be playing in late May, early June.
Right. But I do love the whichever conference wins gets home court. I love that aspect of it. And that, to me, that brings back the competitiveness. And me personally, I've quit watching the All-Star game. I've completely quit watching it. I don't watch it anymore.
I enjoy it for the spectacle, but I
don't watch it.
I watch it for the spectacle, but I want to watch it to watch the best play the best.
I will watch.
You're not watching the best play the best. No. You're watching the best blow kisses and laugh at the best.
And even when we go back to, which I mean, Shaq was older, but even if we go back maybe 10 years, Shaq's still playing in the league. Did he make an All-Star game in that year?
I'm sure he did.
Well,
but I don't know if he did, but I mean he was
back
like
in 2007. He was playing for the Cavs.
He was like a 17 or 18 time All-Star. I'm sure he made several.
Yeah. Well, he was playing one year, and it was toward the end of his career. But he played, and lining up against him was Dwight Howard.
The bounce pass to Chris Paul.
Well, not just that. I watched him back Shaq down to the basket and turn around and dunk it over him, and that was the start to me of no competitiveness. First off, Dwight Howard's not backing Shaq now.
No.
Secondly, he's not dunking over him either. not turning and dunking over him. Not going to happen. And I mean, you could even go back to T-Mac's little throw it off the backboard, dunk it, but he was kind of open.
He did that in the heat of competition. That's what made that so
Right.
nice.
But he was kind of open at that point. It wasn't like he done it over top of somebody. Nobody tried to stop him. You know what I mean? And you've got to bring back the competitiveness. You're starting to lose. People are starting to stop watching.
Give players a reason to be prideful in their conference.
Yeah, I mean, if it takes home court advantage to do that, first off, I feel bad for us as fans if that's what it takes to get these guys to play, to legitimately play. But I understand that they're looking out for their health, or this game's meaningless, so why are we putting so much energy into it and killing ourselves? I get all that, but at the same time, you should want to win.
The purpose of
bad
the game,
enough to where that doesn't matter.
The purpose of the game is for the fans. If the fans want to watch a competitive game, you need to make it a competitive game.
Well, let me go to this, okay? As you know, I'm playing in an alumni football game.
Alumni.
Yeah.
Alumni.
Well, whatever. Alumni football game. Anyway, shut up. The point I'm trying to make here is that I want to win. I'm an old man, right? There's other old men playing this game. And am I in the best shape of my life? No. Not by a long shot. But am I going to stop, or am I going to play to win? I'm always going to play to win. Every time, even in practice, I'm trying hard because I want to win. Regardless. So, really, what we need to see is the NBA straighten up, quit being wussies, and play the game you're paid to do, and have that drive that you had back in high school. Guarantee back in high school, those guys didn't let somebody beat them. Right. Guarantee it. Go back to those days.
Those guys in high school wasn't worth $30 million, so.
Well, LeBron had 400 people lining up to get an autograph after a high school game. But go back to those days. Play to win, not play to get paid. So, anything you want to add? You're going to get me ranting.
Keep the regular season standings the way they are. Keep records as far as who has the best record in the East. Keep home court throughout the eastern portion of the playoffs and the western portion of the playoffs based on regular season performance.
Mm-hmm.
But
finals should be off of.
I'm not saying it should be. That's not what I'm saying. I don't want that to be misconstrued. I'm not saying that the All-Star game should have to determine who has home court. But whenever the fans are clamoring for a more competitive game, the players are supposedly clamoring for a more competitive All-Star game. Make it mean something.
Right.
If they don't like it, tell them.
Well, I think it should, because at this point we're not seeing that competitiveness.
It should because of the situation you're in, but it shouldn't. The All-Star game should mean nothing. It should mean nothing.
Well,
it's the fact that
it should mean something to the players.
Exactly. It should be pride. It should have no bearing on the season or the postseason. But we're in a situation now to where this last All-Star game was pathetic.
The reason to back up, I know, I didn't watch it, but I saw the clips of
I watched every second of it.
Not me. I watched the clips of Steph Curry laying down so Antetokounmpo could dunk it and stuff. Come on. Play ball. Really play ball. But anyway, I get what you're saying, that it shouldn't have implications. And the reason why is because, just like you said, 17 out of the top 24, supposedly what's going to happen, are from the West. So the West is better equipped, right? So when you talk about an All-Star game, should the West not win and get home court advantage every year, right, due to that? So I get what you're saying, that it shouldn't.
The West has been much more heavier with talent for a long time. It's just now, now it's even more heavier.
Yeah, so. But I'm just saying, because of that, I can see why you say the All-Star game shouldn't have any implications whatsoever, because you can't control how weak your whole conference is. Right? All you can control is your team. So why should you be penalized because the rest of the conference is terrible? You know what I mean? So I can see that, But at this point, the players are trying so little that you've got to have something. It's got to mean something, or they're not going to try. I mean, that's the way I'm getting it. And you can say pride, but I think the prideful ones is only going to be the captains. Now, if you get a LeBron James or somebody on the, I don't think that Curry's really the driver that LeBron James is. Maybe Westbrook, maybe. But if you get somebody like those two, they're going to push their teammates to win because they want to beat the other one.
Who's your captains next year? Just
as a prediction.
To close this video, who's your prediction for captains next year?
So one from the East, one from the West, right?
Yep.
Well, East, obviously, LeBron. West, and it's still the fan vote, though, right?
Yep.
Whoever gets the highest fan votes. Oh, man, see, this one's hard because the reason why is because you might see fans who know what the implications mean of who gets captain vote for somebody like Westbrook to see if they pick Kevin Durant. I don't know. It could happen. But
it can't be both of them.
No, I said to see if he will pick Durant.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I could possibly see something like that happening. But you don't know. I'm probably saying, Curry's a good shot.
I'm taking
Durant.
I'm taking LeBron and Durant.
Okay. That's who I would think. But Curry could easily, be over Durant. Could easily do it.
So riddle me this: if Durant or LeBron is on the table, or if Steph or Kyrie's on the table, or even Isaiah Thomas at this point is on the table, if you're LeBron James and you select Steph Curry over Isaiah Thomas, or if you're Steph Curry and you select LeBron James over Kevin Durant, what do you do if you're the other? How do you take that?
How do I take it? Like me being me. I'm taking it as he picked the best player.
I'm taking it as I'm going to beat you.
Oh, now, yeah. Does that mean I'm going to be like playing just to show you the mistake you made? Yes.
That mindset is why I am hesitant to completely condemn this idea.
Right. I see what you're saying.
But until I see it.
But you got to see if that happens. And I think personally, especially in today's time, where everybody gets their feelings hurt or you've offended them, maybe guys are hesitant to draft who they want to draft because they're afraid of their teammate getting offended and requesting a trade. Kyrie, but you know what I'm saying? Like maybe that has something to do with it. But who knows? We'll just have to wait and see, guys. But
yeah, this was 1 year too late.
1 year too late?
I would have loved to have seen if LeBron would take Kyrie or not last year.
Bet he don't take him this year.
Probably not.
I doubt he takes Isaiah Thomas though. Honestly.
If LeBron has first pick, if he's the leading vote getter, and it's not Durant on the other side, he's taking Durant.
Well, I'm just talking at point guard. Your top two.
He'll take Chris Paul.
Huh?
He'll take Chris Paul for his point guard.
See, I would take Westbrook. Westbrook's a better
He's
point
not
guard.
going to take Westbrook. He's going to take Chris Paul. Chris Paul's one of his best friends.
Right. But that goes in the same boat as you not wanting to make somebody mad.
Would you say it goes in a banana boat?
God. So, I don't know where my ring went. But anyway, this video is long as can be. So
I told you to end this video 10 minutes ago.
You told me to end it? You told me to finish it with our pick, and then we got talking about that.
We'll finish it now.
So anyway, guys, this has been a fun video, though. If you liked it, go ahead, hit that like button and that subscribe button. Like us on Facebook, that is the Bluegrass Sports Show, and Twitter, Bluegrass Sport 2. Anything you want to add, Farouk?
My mama was Chinese, my daddy was Japanese, and look what it did to me.
Okay. Anyway, have a good day, guys.